Audible now, everyone?
Yes, ma'am. Right now you are audible.
Okay. Okay. I'll just start the session again. Good morning, everyone. I welcome both the teams and the judges. So today we are having Advocate Roshan Bachchan as our first judge and Advocate Ajay Thakur as our second judge. Advocate Roshan Bachchan has been practicing from 2005 in Delhi. He's having panels from DLSA District Court Dwarka. Since 2014, he's also been in LJ panel. He has handled all types of cases in district courts and high courts. He's practicing in criminal, matrimonial, and NI Act cases. I welcome you, sir. Second judge we are having with us is Ajay Thakurji. He's practicing from 2004. He's based in Delhi itself. He is also having panels of Axis Bank, Busy Infotech, Aston Model Clearing Service, and many more. He's handled different types of cases from district court to the Honorable Apex Court, besides DRT and CAT. I welcome you, sir. Now I request, with the permission of the judges, to begin the session.
Permission is granted.
Please proceed.
Okay. So, prosecution, you may start the session.
Good day, Your Honor, and Your Honorable members of the court. Your Honor, if it may please Your Honor, I should
You are
proceed
not
with the
audible.
jurisdiction of the
Speak one. Your voice is breaking. Yeah.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, judges, can you hear her?
Yes, Jerry. Please proceed.
Ma'am, am I audible now?
Yes, continue.
Yes, please.
If it may please Your Honors, I shall proceed with the jurisdiction of the case, or else I shall proceed with the arguments advanced.
Proceed.
Your Honors, I shall proceed with the jurisdiction or straightforward to the arguments advanced.
Defense counsel may take their arguments as per their choices. If you feel that the case is not tenable on the ground of jurisdiction, you may proceed now.
Okay. Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, I shall proceed with the arguments advanced. Your Honor, I am counsel 1 from prosecution side, and I will be dealing issue 2, and my co-counsel would be dealing issue 1. Your Honor, issue 2 is whether the charges under UAP Act 1967 implicated upon the accused is valid and justifiable. Your Honors, under this particular issue, there are 4 sub-issues with respect to UAP Act 1967. If it may please Your Honor, I should proceed with the sub-issues of the issue 2. Sub-issue 2 of issue 2 is whether the accused is punishable for terrorist act under section 16 of UAPA Act 1967. Your Honor, as per section 15 of the UAPA Act, in order to constitute a terrorist act, there must be an intention or likeliness to cause a terrorist act. And along with that, there must be an actus reus. Your Honor, in the present case, the accused Peter, Samir, and Peter Sohil and Kalu Mama had the clear intention to commit a terrorist act against the government of India by sensitizing the people against the government of India and taking high quality FICN notes from the two countries, Bangladesh and Pakistan. And Your Honor, Samir and Monu, who were found in possession of the FICN with high quality notes, were also considered as the a part of the transaction because they had the likeliness that the particular act is a part of a terrorist organization and same cannot be set aside. Your Honor, for this, I would like to say that holding the possession of the FICN, even though not knowing the contents that whether the notes are FICN or not, it is not it is not a defense on behalf of accused. The same is not justifiable in the court of law. Moreover, further it is contended that the Peter had committed suicide while the investigation was in process, and Sohail had absconded in order to prevent himself from the arrest. All the connections and the facts are so correlated with each other that it constitute a part of a terrorist act within the meaning of this section. Coming forward, Your Honors, actus reus, which involves the using of bombs or any other explosive items, is the actus reus with respect to such intention or likelihood to cause a terrorist act. Your Honor, in the particular case, Sohail was planning to execute a bomb blast on the Indian Army convoy on 15th August 2015. And he further revealed that Sohail crossed the border at night and went to Bangladesh on 20 June 2015. Though the overt act was constituted towards the accused. Further, any production, smuggling, or circulating of the high quality Indian currency notes is in order to threaten the Indian security constitute a terrorist act within the meaning of this section. Your Honor, I would like to draw the kind attention in the case of Sheikh Akram versus National Investigation Agency, in which the Honorable Court found accused with the forged Indian currency notes, and the Honorable Court in this particular case held that the accused are punishable under Section 16 of the UAPA Act for constituting a terrorist act. It is humbly submitted before the court that the accused are validly convicted under Section 16 of the UAPA Act 1967. Your Honor, sub-issue 2 is whether the accused is punishable for raising fund for the terrorist act under Section 17 of UAPA Act 1967. Your Honor, under this section, it clearly stated that if an accused is raising fund with respect to the terrorist act, is an offense within the meaning of this section. Your Honor, in the particular case, the accused were raising funds from Bangladesh and Pakistan without the permission of the Indian government and against the Indian government with the motive that they are working for a voluntary organization and sensitizing people just to unveil the wrong practice of the government of India. But the same is not justifiable because they are hiding their their intention of causing terrorist act with the help of the voluntary organization. Your Honor, in the case of Ghulam Mohammad Bhatt versus National Investigation Agency, the Honorable Delhi High Court upheld the conviction of accused under the NIA investigation within the meaning of this section, as they were involved in raising funds for the banned outfit of the secessionist and terrorist based in Jammu and Kashmir via Delhi, and they were carrying illegal money, being member of banned outfit from Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and sent to India through Hawala channels to another accused for promoting the terrorist activity. Your Honor, the same happened in our case where the Samir and Monu were used as a transmitters to transmit the illegal money from one place to another. It is humbly submitted before the honorable members that the accused are rightly convicted and punishable under Section 17 of the UAP Act 1967. Your Honor, sub-issue 3 of issue 2 is whether the accused is punishable for conspiracy of the Terrorist Act under Section 18 of the UAPA Act 1967. Your Honor, as per Section 18 of the UAPA Act, whoever conspires, attempts to commit or advocates, abets, advises, or incite directly or knowingly facilitate the commission of a terrorist act is punishable within the meaning of this section. Your Honor, in this particular case, the Samir and Monu were abetting the commission of the terrorist act, and Peter Sohail and Carlo the Red Mama was the actual part of the terrorist act. Your Honor, in order to constitute a conspiracy, there must be a common design within the members. And if we look forward to all the statements made by the accused and the evidences produced, it clears that the accused were in constant touch with each other, and they were constantly being updated as to what is happening and how the terrorist activity could take place, and so that they can execute the bomb blast successfully in Pulwama. and the same and for this, the accused are punishable under Section 18 of the UAPA Act. Your Honors, in the case of Sudha Bharadwaj versus State of Maharashtra, the accused was a part of terrorist organization and they were provocative in nature and had effect of creating the communal disharmony by sensitizing the people of India against the government of India. Your Honor, the Honorable Court in this particular case held the accused is punishable under Section 20 of UAP Act 1967. Your Honor, in this further, I want to add Section 27 of the Indian Evidence Act because the CDR reports clearly discovered that the accused were in constant touch with each other and they were executing the terrorist part only. And also, Kalu Red Mama with unknown person has revealed once that revealed the place where the bomb blast was actually to be constituted. So this was against the accused, and it is humbly submitted before the court that accused were raising funds from Bangladesh and Pakistan with an illegitimate aid, and same is not justifiable. The raising funds against the government of India just to unveil the wrong practice of the government of India is not a defense. Further, sub-issue 4, whether the accused is punishable for being a member of terrorist organization under Section 20 of UAP Act 1967. Your Honors, as per Section 20 of the UAP Act, the accused must be a member of a terrorist organization, and this was and in the case of Arun versus State of Maharashtra, investigation agency has material to show prima facie that applicant was in the connection of a banned organization. Further, an investigation constituted that the accused was a part of a banned organization, and the same was liable under same was punishable under Section 20 of UAP Act. Your Honor, in the present case, the Sohail was in touch of the terrorist organization. Also, they were raising fund with respect to the organization just to go against the government of India. Falls within the ambit of this section. Your Honor, I would like to draw your kind attention to the case of State versus Kobar Gandhi and another, in which the Honorable Court held that even a terrorist organization or gang may have some members who are not involved in terrorist activities or involved in some other social activities. Thus, the person can be labeled as a terrorist by the fact that that some members were a part of a terrorist organization. Your Honor, in the particular case, Sohail was in direct connection with the terrorist organization. The other accused were not a part of terrorist organization, but they are a part of a common chain of event. Sohail was leading to the complete act, and the same is liable under Section 20 of the UAP Act. All of which is humbly submits before the Honorable Court that the accused are liable under Section 16, 17, 18, and 20 of UAP Act 1967. Thank you, Your Honors. If it may please Your Honor, I would like to hand over the charge to my co-counsel to deal issue 1.
Yes.
Much obliged, Your Honor.
Good day, Your Honor, and the honorable members of the court. Your Honor, I am the co-counsel for prosecution, and I have taken the issue first. If it may please Your Honor, the counsel seeks permission to proceed further with the sub-issue 1 of issue 1.
Proceed.
Your Honor, the sub-issue 1 deals in criminal conspiracy, whether the accused is guilty of criminal conspiracy under Section 120B or not. Your Honor, according to the Section 120A of IPC, when two or more persons agrees to do or cause to be done, first, an illegal act, second, an act which is not illegal but by illegal means, such an agreement is designated as criminal conspiracy. Your Honor, according to the facts of the case, it is clear that Sameer and others are guilty under Section 120B as their acts are illegal, as during the search, the suspect Sameer and Monu are found with baggages containing high quality of Indian currency notes. And the further interrogation, both the accused disclosed that they had collected these FICNs from their associate Kalu at the rate Mama, which was to be delivered to the Peter in Pulwama, and the accused Monu further informed that Kalu Mama used to take instructions from Sohail, who was planning to carry out bomb blast in Pulwama on Indian Army convoy. Your Honor, these confessions made by accused in police custody can be proved as the information received. Your Honor, because it falls in section 27 of the Indian Evidence Act, as from the confessional statements, discovery of new facts were taken place during the further investigation by the NIA. Your Honor, through the confessional statements, the fact discovered can be extracted from moot proposition point 17.22, 17.23, 17.29, 17.30, and 17.33 that the CDR analysis and the phone data of the phones seized from accused Sameer and Monu clearly establishes their movement from Madhya Pradesh to West Bengal and frequent telephonic conversation between Sameer and Kalu at the rate Mama on 23rd February 2015. Your Honor, in the light of the present case, there are series of events and instances showing that Sameer and others had common intention. Your Honor, I would like to quote a case that is Sushil Suri versus Central Bureau of Investigation. In this, the essential ingredient of offences of criminal conspiracy was observed. Your Honor, the essential ingredient of the offences of criminal conspiracy is the agreement to commit an offence. Mere proof of such an agreement is sufficient to establish criminal conspiracy. As according to the case, Your Honor, according to the case and the facts which was discovered was extracted from the moot proposition, the CDR analysis and the phone data of the phone seized from the accused Sameer and Monu is the mere proof for the establishing their criminal conspiracy. Furthermore, these facts and evidences of accused having the knowledge of the other's intention also establishes the evidence of their conspiracy. Thus, Your Honor, all the essential ingredient of the offences of criminal conspiracy is fulfilled, as Sameer and other committed the illegal act in furtherance of common intention of all. Your Honor, in the view of totality of the facts and circumstances of the cases and the facts that charge has been framed, and also the fact that the petitioner was found in possession of FICN, which has been opened to be high quality counterfeit notes, and the CDR showing that he was in regular touch with other accused persons, the allegations against the petitioners appears to be prima facie true. Your Honor, in the light of the present case, the facts discovered from the further investigation by NIA establishes the knowledge and common intention of the accused, which further proves their association with the criminal conspiracy. Your Honor, the counsel seeks permission to proceed further with the sub issue second.
Please.
Continue.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Your Honor, the sub issue second deals in counterfeiting under section 489B and 489C. Your Honor, according to the section 489B, it deals in issuing a genuine, false or counterfeit currency notes. Whoever sells or buys or receives from any other person or otherwise traffic in or uses as genuine any false or counterfeit notes, knowing of having to believe the same to be counterfeit. Your Honor, from the prior mentioned facts and investigation, it clearly establishes that both Sameer and Monu is in conspiracy with Kalu at the rate Mama, Peter and Sohail, and were closely associated as a gang, which was actively involved in a criminal conspiracy for purchase, procurement, transportation, and financing of extremely high quality of FICN for distribution across the country, and therefore their such action attracts all the essential elements to be liable under section 489B and 489C. Your Honor, here the accused had knowledge and had reason to believe that the notes are forged, and this establishes their mens rea, which is clearly established through the frequent telephonic conversations and telephonic contact analyzed in CDR reports, proving their association in criminal conspiracy and knowledge of FICN. Your Honor, which can be clearly proved under section 27 of Indian Evidence Act. Your Honor, the allegations under section 489B and 489C appears prima facie true, which further proves their knowledge and their reason to believe the same to be false. Your Honor, the counsel seeks permission to proceed further with service to third.
Please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the service to third deals in whether the accused is liable for waging war against the state, against the government under section 121 of Indian Penal Code. Your Honor, according to section 121 of the Indian Evidence Act, Indian Penal Code, the essential requirement for the evidence to establish a case under section 121 must be directed to proving of following points. First, that the accused waged war or attempted to do so or abetted the same. Second, that such war was against the government of India. Your Honor, from the prior mentioned facts and investigation, it clearly establishes that both Sameer and Monu is in conspiracy with Kalu @Mama, Peter and Sohail, and were closely associated as gang, which was actively involved in criminal conspiracy for waging war against the government of India. As such, can be inferred from the statement in Exhibit 6. Iqbal Khan, who is the common friend of Sameer and Monu, Iqbal Khan stated that Sameer informed him about a public gathering in which Kalu @Mama made some blatant remark like India not being a country worth living and country of intolerant, and the statements like Dulhan ko sajana padega. Your Honor, Sameer also told him that because of that public gathering, a police complaint was registered against Kalu @Mama and against his teammate, including Monu. And he further informed him that it was just because of his father that FIR was withdrawn. Sameer also told Iqbal Khan that his father got enraged even at the thought of Kalu @Mama. Your Honor, here the dots are connecting that Kalu @Mama, Sohail, Peter and Sameer and Monu, as with the same ideology, started working together, and with the due course of time, they developed a great compatibility and get close to each other in the appearance of raising funds for sensitizing people. They were planning a war and in furtherance of same acted in the regards, which can be inferred from their actions, which clearly tantamounts to waging war against the government of India under section 121 of IPC. Your Honor, I seek permission to proceed further with the prayer.
Please.
Much obliged, Your Honor. Wherefore, in the light of the fact of the case, issues raised, argument advanced, and authorities cited, this Honorable Court may be pleased to find that the accused have committed the offences under section 120B, 489B, 121, 123, and 201 of Indian Penal Code 1860, and section 16, 17, 18, and 20 of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act 1967, and pass any other order that it may deems fit in the end of justice, equity, and good conscience. Thank you, Your Honor.
What, Master Sir?
Yes, sir.
What about from other side?
Sir, please pardon.
What about from other side? Is there
Sir,
any?
you may ask questions from the prosecution, and then the defense will approach the bench.
Prosecution may please submit. How could prosecution prove that this fund was raised and was collected and was used against the India?
Your Honor, the funds which was raised was forged Indian currency notes. Firstly, it was not a legitimate funding; it was illegitimate funding. Secondly, it was used against the government of India in order to sensitize the people of India. And the same was taken from Bangladesh and Pakistan without the permission of the Indian government. Uh, such facts depict that it's not a legitimate funding.
So you mean to say that this fund was this amount was a fake note, fake currency?
Yes, Your Honor.
That's
The same
why.
was also confirmed during the investigation. It was of high quality fake Indian currency notes.
Okay. Okay, Court Master sir.
There is one question from my side. How you connect Samir and Monu to other accused?
Counsel, you please unmute yourself.
Sorry, ma'am. Your Honor, Samir and Monu were aiding the terrorist activity by circulating the forged Indian currency notes from one place to another. The Kalu Mama also previously, with the help of Samir and Monu, circulated money from one places to another for the same purposes. Though they were not they were not the actual part, they were not actually committing the terrorist act, but they were a part of with the other members, which constitute a conspiracy. Holding the possession of the fake Indian currency notes is not a defense.
Other accused are not direct connected with the Monu and Samir. Have you any explanation?
Peter, Kalu Mama, and Sohail was the actual part of the terrorist activities, and Samir and Monu were aiding all the three. Thus, constitute that all the fives were a part of the terrorist activity.
What does CDR says in this aspect?
The CDR reports during the investigation clarifies that all the accused were in touch with each other, and the recordings clearly stated that they were in accordance with the terrorist activity and the funds which they were raising for the same.
What evidence under Section 27 of Indian Evidence Act?
It tells about that during the Yes, Your Honor. During the police custody, if any fact is discovered by the accused, the same can be accused against, and the same can be used against the accused, and that particular statement with respect to the Section 27 of Indian Evidence Act is relevant in the court. The discovery of facts during this, which was traced by the CDR reports and which was revealed by the accused, the particular place on where which the Sohail was would be doing the bomb blast, all are the discovery of the facts by the accused, and same can be used against the accused with respect to Indian Evidence Act.
What about the commission of each Sohail, Samir and Monu commission of the fake currency?
10% commission.
How you calculate the percentage of commission? Because he will get 10%. Whether there's written by any other accused?
Your Honor, pardon for this.
How you prove 10%? How this can be calculated to the accused 10%? Who will give the 10%?
Your Honor, in the
Not fake currency, not as fake currency. How will you
Your Honor,
justify?
my co-counsel would give answer for this.
Your Honor, in the moot proposition 17.10, it is clearly mentioned by Kalu@Mama that they were giving 10% commission on each deal to Monu and Samir.
And what about the others accused apart from Monu and Samir?
So about that, the commission about that is not given in the facts, like not mentioned in the fact. Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, proceed, brother.
Defense may approach the bench.
Ma'am, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
May I please this honorable court, myself, counsel number 1, appearing on behalf of the accused in the matter in hand, State versus Samir and others. With the prior permission of the bench, shall I move to the issues of the case?
Proceed.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. So the first issue is whether the allegation against Samir, Monu and Kaluet-Mama under section 489B, 489C, 120B, 121, 123 and 201 of IPC has a valid ground. And the second issue is whether the accused persons can be convicted or not. And the third issue is whether an allegation that the accused persons, namely Samir, Monu and Kaluet-Mama, have committed offences under section 16, 17, 18 and 20 of the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act is valid. So I will be dealing with the first issue and my co-counsel will be dealing with the other two issues. With the prior permission of the bench, shall I move to the arguments of the first issue?
Please.
Much obliged, Your Lordship. So the first issue is whether the allegation against Samir, Monu and Kaluet-Mama under section 489B, 489C, 120B, 121, 123 and 201 of IPC have a valid ground. So we can say that allegation against Samir, Monu and Kaluet-Mama under section 489B, 489C, 120B and 121, 123 and 201 of IPC is clearly not having a valid ground. So here, first we can analyze section 489B. Section 489B of IPC states about the punishment for using as genuine, forged or counterfeit currency notes or bank notes. So in this case, the prosecution alleges that the Samir and Monu were carrying high quality fake Indian currency notes. And in Exhibit 7, which contains the statements which has been recorded in the course of investigation, and as well as in Exhibit 8, which contains 161 statement of Monu. In both these statements, Monu and Samir are stating that Kaluet-Mama told them about one project in which they need to carry the bag from one place to another and handed it over to Peter. Samir and Monu didn't know that in that bag they were carrying were fake notes. So section 489B contemplates that the offender must sell to any other person, or must buy, or must receive, or from any other person, or he must otherwise traffic in, or must use as genuine any forged or counterfeit currency notes or bank notes. So he must do so with the knowledge or having reason to believe that the same is forged or counterfeit. Perusal of the said section would reveal that the mens rea is an essential element for the said section, and the use of the term knowing or having reason to believe that the same to be forged or counterfeit is necessary for inviting penalties under this section. So when mens rea is conspicuously absent here, mere use of any forged or counterfeit currency notes or bank notes cannot attract the provision of section 489B. So here the prosecution has failed in establishing that the Samir and Monu had carried the fake notes with knowledge that the notes are fake. So, sorry for the disturbance, Your Honor. There was a power failure. So one of the important case that has to be analyzed here is Uma Shankar versus State of Chhattisgarh. So here, the Supreme Court observed that buying or receiving from another person, or otherwise trafficking in or using as genuine, or also possessing or even intending to use any forged or counterfeit currency notes or bank notes is not sufficient to make out a case under section 489C in the absence of mens rea. In another case, that is Veeraswamy Shanmugam Sundaram versus State of Andhra Pradesh. Here, the accused was alleged to have presented a fake 100 rupee currency notes to the booking clerk for purchasing a railway ticket. The Andhra Pradesh High Court held that since the accused had neither knowledge that the note was counterfeit nor had the intention to make use of it for undue gain, therefore his conviction was not proper. So hence, by relying on these cases, it is clearly evident that section 489B cannot be attracted here if the fake currency notes are sold, paid, or received without the knowledge that the currency notes are fake. So in our case, also Monu and Samir doesn't have any knowledge that the currency notes that they received from Kaluet Mama were fake. Therefore, it can be clearly held that section 489B of IPC cannot be attracted against Monu and Samir. And also, Kaluet Mama gave that these currency notes without knowing that the notes were fake. So as a result, the said section will not attract against Kaluet Mama also. Your Honor, can I take a second? Can I connect to another device?
Please, please.
Your Honor, am I audible? Okay.
Yes, yes.
So the next is regarding section 489C of IPC. Section 489C deals with the punishment for possession of forged or counterfeit currency notes or bank notes. So one of the case that has to be analyzed here is K. Hazim versus State of Tamil Nadu, in which the Supreme Court observed that under this section, possession and knowledge that the currency notes were counterfeit are necessary. So in our case, as well as I said, Samir and Monu were not aware that the currency notes that they received from Kaluet Mama to be carried by them was a fake currency notes. Therefore, as Samir and Monu possessed the fake currency notes without knowledge that they are fake, and therefore section 489C of IPC also cannot be attracted. So now it is regarding section 120B. It deals with punishment of criminal conspiracy. In order to constitute this abetment of conspiracy, four things are essential. First one, there must be at least two persons, and second, they must engage in the commission of an act, and third, an act or omission must take place in pursuance of that conspiracy, and lastly, the act or omission must have taken place in order to the doing of that thing. So here in our case, section 120B cannot be attracted against Samir, Monu and Kaluet Mama. The reason for this is that the elements that should be present to constitute abetment of conspiracy is not present here. So in our case, it is being told that Sohail was the only person who is said to have some sort of connection with the terrorist activities, and which is also not proved. So here, the NIA investigation report itself, it stated that Samir have contact only with Monu, Kaluet Mama, and Peter, and Monu was only in constant touch with Samir, Kaluet Mama, and Peter. So here, Monu and Samir didn't engage in any sort of conspiracy with Kaluet Mama and Peter in commission of any crime. And they were also not even aware about the terrorist activities in which Sohail was involved, nor they have any knowledge about the fact that the currency notes which was given by Kaluet Mama was fake. So, as the elements to constitute abetment by conspiracy is absent in case of Samir and Monu, a charge under section 120B of IPC cannot be attracted against them. So, in case of Kaluet Mama, he was not in constant touch with Sohail, but only he had a mere contact. And from Exhibit 7, which contains the 161 statement of Kaluet Mama, in which he mentions that he was not aware about such terrorist activities in which Sohail was involved. So therefore, from this itself, it shows that here Kaluet Mama was not engaged in any sort of conspiracy. And also, no call records between accused persons showing that they have engaged in the commission of a crime is not produced by NIA. And a mere showing of the location and time in the NIA report doesn't mean that they have contacted regularly. From which we can say that these accused persons were not involved in any sort of criminal conspiracy, and section 120B of IPC cannot be attracted here. And also in the NIA's investigation report, it has been mentioned that NIA team found one public witness whose name is Shah Rukh Khan, who claimed that he had seen Sohail on 26 2015 with two other persons, that is Kaluet Mama and one unknown person. So talking to a person doesn't exhibit any proof of conspiracy. And Article 19 Clause 1A of the Indian Constitution itself provides us the right to freedom of speech and expression, and they have the right to express, share thoughts and views, etc. So it is not an offense at all. Hence, section 120B cannot be attracted against the accused. So now the question remains with section 121 of IPC. So section 121 states about waging or attempting to wage war or abetting waging of war against the government of India. So here in our case, section 121 and 123 of IPC cannot be attracted against Monu, Samir and Kaluet Mama, and because here Sohail is the only person who is alleged to have some sort of terrorist activities, and it is also not proved at all. So here Samir and Monu have no contact with Sohail, which is clearly evident from the NIA investigation report itself. And it is undoubtable that they were not involved in any sort of activities such as waging or attempting to wage war against the government of India. And also in the NIA report itself, it has been held that Samir was only in constant touch with Monu and Kaluet Mama and Peter and had no touch with Sohail. Also in the same NIA report, it has been stated that Monu was only in constant touch with Samir, Kaluet Mama and Peter, and not Sohail, who was involved in the terrorist activity as per the allegation. So, and also no evidence to prove the allegation against Kaluet Mama is provided in the NIA report. Therefore, as there is no evidence to prove the allegation is found in the NIA investigation against Monu, Samir and Kaluet Mama, therefore section 121 and 123 of IPC also cannot be attracted. Now the question remains with section 201 of IPC. Section 201 of IPC states about punishment for causing disappearance of evidence of offense or giving false information to the screen offender. So section 201 of IPC cannot be attracted here against Samir as well as Monu and Kaluet Mama. Here, even a mere allegation of the offense under section 201 IPC is not there with Samir and Monu, because they had only carried the FICNs without the knowledge that they are fake currency. And also they had not tried to destroy any evidence that is necessary to prove the allegation. And NIA had not even mentioned anything to prove the offense committed by Monu and Samir under section 201 IPC. And also in a mere statement in the NIA report that during the course of investigation, the house of Sohail was searched a number of times, but incriminating substance could not be recovered as Kaluet Mama had destroyed all the evidence. And here also there is no evidence with the NIA to show that Kaluet Mama had destroyed all the evidences. Also, in the NIA investigation report, it has been mentioned that NIA found one public witness named Shah Rukh Khan who claimed that he had seen Sohail on 26/2015 with Kaluet Mama and one unknown person. Here also there is no evidence with the NIA to prove this allegation also. So in one of the case that has to be looked into here is P. Tripati versus State. Here, the Supreme Court quashed the conviction of the accused persons under this section, even though there were many facts which pointed out towards the direction of the accused having killed a mother and a child. There are some reasonable doubts as well, and the prosecution could not establish the charge that the appellant had removed or concealed the dead bodies. As well as in Natu versus State. Here also the Supreme Court refused to convict them under section 201, holding that the evidence against them was not enough. So by relying on these cases, it can be clearly held that this case, no evidence is there with the prosecution to prove the allegation against Samir, Monu, as well as Kaluet Mama, and therefore section 201 of IPC cannot be attracted. So from these arguments, it can be concluded that the allegation against Samir, Monu, and Kaluet Mama under section 489B, 489C, 120B, 121, 123, and 201 of IPC does not have a valid ground. So if your lordships are convinced with the arguments, the rest of the issues will be dealt by my co-counsel.
Let second counsel will come. I will put you to question. There is some clarification which is required to be clarified from your side.
It was indeed an honor for this honorable court.
Please. Good matter, sir.
Yes, sir. Speak.
Let another defense
Yes,
counsel.
yes.
Let another defense counsel. Let another defense
Speaker
counsel.
2, please approach the dais. Defense.
Please grant me to speak instead of this honorable court to deal with the issue number 2 and issue number 3. Am I permitted, my lord?
Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Whether the accused person can be convicted or not, this is the issue number 2. The offences that are charged under section 220B, 489B, 489C, section 201, and section 223, section 221 are already dealt by my counsel number 1, or counsel 1. So now I am going to deal with whether the accused person can be convicted or not. Actually, my lord, the evidence a scientific report, whether a scientific report. Am I over? Your Honor, please pardon me due to a really bad network issue. I got off connect. Really very sorry for. Am I permitted to? The only evidence provided report of NIA is of CDR report, a report which says that the currency notes are fake, and the evidences or the state of this the state of so they my co-counsel in this report where the accused were arrested and put in front of court just because of sanctions by the by saying that they were a part of terrorists, they were doing terrorist activities. Now to the section unlawful prevention 1967, section 16, 17, 20, accused. The arrest under section section 16 says the arrest under Unlawful Prevention Act 1617. Section 16 says that whoever commits terrorist act, if such an act has resulted in the death of any person, be punishable with death or imprisonment for life, and shall be also liable for fine. In another case, with punishment for term of shall be less than 5 years, but which many extend to imprisonment of life and shall also be liable for fine. The Act clearly says that any person shall be punished for the terrorist activities in any damages shall be punished under this section. But there is no trace of any kind of terrorist activity that had been done by this person, which is Sonu. The person is there is no evidence so there is no evidence that says, and there is no kind of bomb blast, there is no trace of any bomb blast, or there is no trace that they were going to attack Pulwama, they were going to attack any place in India. There is no trace, NIA clearly to provide any traces of this particular terrorist activity. So clearly section 16 is not applicable as per the circumstances. From the forensic expert, other than the currency had been proved fake, there is no other evidence that is provided by the NIA which clearly proves that these particular accused are under terrorist organization, and merely providing some locations doesn't constitute anything. That, and there also one thing that the conspiracy aspect of this friends and also our friends and we do have touch. Let's begin this.
It seems there is an issue, network issue.
Speaker, your voice is breaking too much. Please maintain your network. We can wait for her, sir, for 5-7 minutes, and let's see if she can.
I'm really very, pardon me, my lord, pardon me. Actually, here there is a very bad weather, and due to that, the power is fluctuating, and my Wi-Fi is really at a bad condition. I'm really very sorry for that.
I will improve the network, okay?
Okay, so am I audible right now?
Yes, you are now clearly audible. You may turn off your video for a while and then speak.
Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you very much. My lord, am I permitted to continue with my argument?
Please.
Thank you very much, my lord. Much obliged. So, I'll just restart issue number 3, which is whether the accusations under section 16, 17, 18, and 20 of this Unlawful Activity Prevention Act 1967 is applicable on the accused or not. Section 16 of this act, UPA Act, states that whoever commits a terrorist act shall, if such an act has resulted in the death of any person, be punishable with death or imprisonment for life, and shall also be liable for fine. In any other case, be punishable with imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 5 years, but which may extend to imprisonment for life, and shall also be liable for fine. That clearly says that a person shall be punished for terrorist activity. In case of death of any person or causing any damages shall be punished. But there is no trace of any death or any kind of bomb blast or any kind of activity or any kind of damages in this case. The NIA had clearly failed to provide or provide any proof which states that there is a damage or there is a death or there is a bomb blast in any places. So this section is completely void by this by the statement itself. And from the forensic expert, other than the fact that they are detected the notes as fake currency, there is no other evidence is there to constitute these accused are a part of terrorist organization. My lord, the fact is that the currency is high resolution Indian fake notes, and it's clearly for a person, a prudent person, to misunderstood the currency note as a fake currency note as a real currency note is not an expert in this field, and they are all common people, and it is of really high resolution currency note. They might be withdrawn it for some reason, and after that, or maybe borrowed. There is they have the NIA provided the real NIA failed to provide the real source of this particular FIA fake currency note, and it cannot be. It is also in an ambiguous situation, so we can prove that they are punishable for these offences. Now, coming to the case, Sohail, who is accused of being the main culprit and conspirator of having constant touch with Pakistan and Bangladesh Lashkar-e-Taliban during the investigation, the investigator officers could not find a single trace of evidence from the house of Sohail. Moreover, the reports of the investigation officers says that Sohail crossed the border of Bangladesh. They didn't have any strong witnesses or evidence which proves such an incident. By all the above stated facts, it is a clear violation of both the fundamental and human rights of accused, which is an ambiguous fact and vague testimonies of people who we can't stamp our citizens as of terrorists. Section 17 of the Section 17 states that the punishment for raising fund for terrorist act. Whoever in India or in a foreign country directly or indirectly raise or provided funds or collects funds, whether from a legitimate or illegitimate source, from any person or persons, or attempt to provide or raise or collect funds for a person or person knowing that such a fund likely to be used full or in partly by such a person or persons by a terrorist organization or by a terrorist gang or by an individual of terrorist to commit terrorist activity, notwithstanding with whether such funds were actually used or not, commission of such act shall be punishable with the imprisonment for a term which shall not be less than 5 years, but which may extend to the imprisonment for life and shall also be liable for fine. For the purpose of this section, I'll substantiate this section 17 by pointing out the points. Participating, organizing, or directing in any of the act that stated there shall constitute an offence. There need to be a participation or an organization or direction to constitute this act. And raising fund shall include raising or collection or providing fund through production or smuggling or circulation of high quality counterfeit Indian currency, and raising or collecting or providing funds in a manner for the benefit or to an individual terrorist gang or terrorist organization for the purpose not specifically covered under section 15 shall also be considered as an offence. Under this section, punishment for a person who raises fund for unlawful purpose and counterfeit currencies is defined. It's already proven that there are serious ambiguity about the real involvement of the accused. It is already mentioned that the report that all of these people came together as a part of upliftment program. The amount that they brought was high quality Indian currency and have high chances to be mistook as real Indian cash. Under these circumstances, any person can be victimized of fraud, and also there is no evidence found to specifically showing that there was any printing of notes took place by this accused or it has been collected from somewhere. It can be really mistook as of a real currency note, since it is of high resolution. They are common people. I am emphasizing the fact that they are really common people and they need it. They are not expert, or they are not a forensic expert to detailedly analyze an Indian currency note. So they might be mistook the note as if of an Indian currency note. My lord, I like to jump to the section 18, which is section 18 states that punishment for conspiracy, etc. We already dealt this section in IPC also, but I'll restate it. Whoever conspires or attempts to commit or advocate, abets, advise, or commits of a terrorist act, any act preparatory to the commission of the terrorist act shall be punished with imprisonment of a term shall not be less than 5 years, but which may be extended to imprisonment of life and shall be also liable to fine. The fact other than they called each other, and the fact other than they carried some counterfeit currencies, there is no other evidence, no other clear witness, no other anything which could be relied, which unambiguously proves that they are terrorists is not provided. They never got caught of doing any illegal activities other than the uprising program of a minority. And there is one main point that NIA specifies is that Kalu Mama were constantly used or cursed Indian nation. That was the ground of declaring him as a terrorist. Actually, if we look into our daily life, even having everything, we also sometimes say that yaar ye kya hai, yaar ye kya hai, ye desh aisa kaisa hai. So this is really ridiculous to implant a person just because implant a person as a terrorist just because that person said India is not a place worth living. And if that's the case, every Indian citizen, including the students, including us, including everyone in this panel, at least once cursed this country for anything. I mean, that's not a ground to implant someone just because he cursed this country. I mean, just cursed this country. I mean, yeah, it's a crime. You shouldn't do that. But everybody does this crime at least once in their life. So just because he cursed, and also the fact he is from a really suppressed class of the society. The anger is the reason that he reacted that way. So just because that person said to someone that India is not a place worth living there, we cannot implant that person as a terrorist. Every citizen of India need to be protected. And just because of some statements, we cannot say that a person is terrorist. And the fact other than they called each other, no proof that them of meeting each other than a statement of a police officer, a pastor owner, and one of the friends of the accused. No evidence of conspiracy is there. No meeting places, no evidence of being caught doing unlawful anything, nothing. In the case of Palvinder Kaur versus State of Punjab, the Supreme Court approved the Privy Council decision in Palak Narayan Swamy case over 2 scores. Firstly, the definition of confession is that it must in the case of Palvinder. Okay, I'm really very sorry, my lord. In the case of Palvinder Kaur versus State of Punjab, the Supreme Court approved the Privy Council's decision in Prakash Narayan Swamy case over 2 scores. Firstly, the definition of confession is that it must either admit the guilt in terms or admit substantially all the facts which constitute the offence. Secondly, that a mixed up statement, which even though contains some confessional statement, which still lead to the acquittal, is not confession. My lord, please stress that point, is not confession. And the statement that contains self-explanatory matters which is true would negate the matter of offense cannot amount to confession. Please note this as well. Section 24 of Indian Evidence Act 1872, a confession made by accused person is irrelevant in a criminal proceeding if the making of the confession appears to the court to have been accused by an indictment, threat or promise, or having references to the change against the accused person proceeding from a person in authority and sufficient in the opinion of the court to give the accused person ground which would appear to him reasonable for supporting that by making he would gain any advantage or avoid many evil of the temporal nature in reference to the proceeding against him. Confession to the police officer is not proved. Section 25 of Indian Evidence Act 1872. Confession made to a police officer shall be proved as against a person of accused of any offence. Confession by accused while custody of a police not proved against him. Section 26 of Indian Evidence Act. Section 20 states that the punishment for being the members of terrorist gang or organization. Any person who is the member of a terrorist organization which is involved in a terrorist activity shall be punished with an imprisonment for the term which may extend to the imprisonment of life and shall also be liable for the fine. And UPA Act 20 clearly states about the presence or the involvement of a person in a terrorist organization. The council clearly stated the facts that I'm restating the fact that other than the counterfeit coins and the vague locations provided by this NIA report and some statements statement which are not evidently backed up provided by these NIA officers, there are no other evidences or no other proper reliable evidences that had been provided in front of this court which will say that Sohail Monu and this Kaluwet Mama is terrorist or a part of terrorist organization. And even in this CDR report, there is no trace of a person, no trace any of these accused had any contact with Lashkar or the Taliban people. So, and just because a person is calling to Pakistan, that doesn't also constitute that person is of terrorist, because Pakistani people are all not terrorists. Just because they do have some connection or they called a Pakistani person or a Bangladeshi person, they does not constitute that called person is a terrorist or that person who had been called is a terrorist. Because just because of the diplomatic clash between India and Pakistan, everybody in each country doesn't mean to be called terrorists. They are also people and they have emotions, and that's not our case. But I'm just stating that it's always a matter of concern. So I was just stating that there is no evidence of calling even, and even if they called, we cannot constitute that that person is connected with Taliban organization. My lord, if my lord is convinced with the issue number 3 and 4, am I allowed it to move forward with this prayer that I want to make in front of this court?
You may proceed. See.
Much obliged, my lord. Wherefore, in the light of issue raised, arguments advanced, and authority cited, the accused most humbly and respectfully pray the honorable in front of this honorable court may please to hold the judge and declare that allegations against Samir Monu and Kaluwet Mama under section 489B, 489C, 120B, 121, 123, 201 of IPC. IPC and section 16, 17, 18 and 20 of UAP Act UAP Act is not valid. The accused person cannot be convicted, and the allegations against the persons, namely Samir Monu and Kaluwet Mama, have committed offences under these sections above mentioned is not valid. And pass any such order or issue such a direction and grant such a relief that it may deemed fit in the interest of justice, equality and good conscience. And if for this act of kindness the prosecution my lord, as in the defense as in duty bound shall humbly pray. That's all, my lord. Thank you. It was an honor to argue before this court.
Judges, you may ask some questions from the defense side.
Yes. Mr. Defense Counsel,
My lord.
Counsel number one. Counsel number one.
My lord.
Mr. Defense Counsel, your defense is based first on knowledge, and second, to submit that there was no contact among all the accused, no regular contact. This is well settled proposition of law. This is the prosecution who has to prove the case beyond all reasonable doubts. And accused has to prove only preponderance of probability. But this word reasonable having broad sense. Do you submit that a person who is carrying a bag don't have the knowledge what goods, what items are contained in that bag? Is it reasonable to understand that a person who is carrying a bag is not having idea which items is contained there?
Your Lordship, here Kalwet Mama had given some money to Samir and Monu, and they don't know that whether it is fake or not. So I have tried to convey that. Because it's of high quality fake currency notes, and it is very difficult to identify whether it is a fake note or whether it is it's a genuine currency. So by carrying that currency, they don't know that whether the currency that is in their bag is genuine currency or fake currency. They might carry that, or they have carried that bag because they thought that the inside the bag the currency is a genuine currency, and they didn't know that whether it is fake.
Mean to say they have their prior acquaintance among each other. One who was giving the currency and the other who was accepting the currency. They were well acquainted and they had contact. That's why there was not any reason to believe that these notes are not fake.
Your Honor, I didn't get you.
I mean to say,
Okay.
a person who was handing over the bag full of currency, I'm not saying that is fake or the genuine, and the other person who accepting this bag. The person who accepting the bag don't have any reason to believe or disbelieve that this bag contains fake currency. Means to say they were well acquainted and they both were having faith over each other. He was having reason to believe that this person shall not give me the fake currency. They were acquainted with each other. They were having prior contact with each other. Means they were having contact with each other prior to this.
No, their contact is not. No, they have contact. I accept that. Samir and Monu has contact with Kalwet Mama, but they have not that. But that mere contact doesn't mean that the Samir and Monu know that the currency that is given by Kalwet Mama is fake.
When it come into your knowledge that these notes were fake, what action you taken? When it come to your knowledge, when these notes were fake, what action you taken?
Lordship speaking.
My lord, I guess there is some network issue from the side of council number 1. Am I permitted to answer this question?
Please, please.
Council number 2. The question my lord asked was any kind of particular actions that from the side of this accused were taken after they found out that the currency was fake, right? My lord, in this fact, it is clearly stated that from destination point A to B, a pawn shop owner had called or informed the police officers that there is two persons who were carrying counterfeit coins through train. Okay, to be specific, I'll tell you. Okay, to be more specific, I'd like to state that like. Train 13 and it has arrived at platform number 5 of Old Delhi railway station on 2015 at 10:55 hours. During the search, two suspect persons, Samir and Monu, were detained. So there is an information, a raid based on an information where two persons are carrying fake Indian currency note, and they were traveling from point A to B. After they are reaching Delhi platform, Old Delhi railway station, police were immediately put a raid on their bag and they were arrested immediately. So they realized that they are carrying a fake currency note only after that. And Kalwait Mama, who is a part of our Renaissance organization, which is a rebellion, to be precise, Indian government has been putting policies that were out of that were against the minority of the people and were dividing people into two sections. They were clearly a part of this organization, and they were raising fund for their the facts clearly state that they were organizing artistic format, they were organizing art fest kind of things. In this fact, they were organizing many programs for relieving their stress. Always artists are relief, so they were organizing programs. So for that they needed fund and they were genuinely raising fund. They are, I am stating that this Kalwait Mama is not a graduate in currency expertism, or they were not, any of these people is not highly educated people, or even we fail to find a currency note which is fake. We are sitting here as lawyers and we find really difficult to find the division between a good currency note or a correct currency note and a fake currency note. How will that poor people find it, sir? Just because they were opposing to the government's policies, merely they can't be called terrorists, no. That is against their fundamental rights, that's against their human rights, that's against all their rights that and all the basic structure features that is stated in this country. And we are upholding the supremacy of law, and we are just letting people call terrorists or letting the biggest, for an Indian citizen, the biggest inflection of pain, that is to be called a terrorist, just because we are more integrated and called to be a terrorist is a really bad thing. And now I am really I'm really sad about their families, how will be they treated. And just because of some statements that made by these people, or just because they were a part of an organization that they opposed the policies of the government, we can't just call them terrorists just because of that we can do that, my lord. That's all I want to state. And the first question, I guess the first question asked to council number 1, which was they do have a constant contact. In that case, if Kalwait Mama gave that money to them, they did have a contact. Yes, my lord, that we already accepted the fact that they were a part of an organization and they were friends. They do have contacts. And if Kalwait Mama give this money to Suhail, and Kalwait Mama should have been collected it from someone, and he could have been he could have been a part of he could have been a victim of fraud. The NIA doesn't have done any proper investigation from the part of the accused. And yeah, that's all, my lord. That's it.
Judges, if you are done with the questions, we'll begin the rebuttal round. Shall I begin the rebuttal round? Okay, so each team will be getting 2 minutes each for the rebuttal round. So because the time has already been consumed. Now, I request the prosecution first to start the rebuttal round.
My first question from Council of Defense is, if the accused were involved in voluntary organization and they were not a part of terrorist activities, then when Samir and Monu were detained by the police and received the high quality FICN notes, then soon after, why Peter had committed suicide by consuming poison, and why Sohail has absconded from the place and not found till yet. My second question is, as per Section 27 of the Indian Evidence Act, which surpasses Section 24 and 25 of Indian Evidence Act, any discovery of the fact by the accused made during the police custody can be used against the accused as self-harming statements. Third question to the Council of Defense is, raising funds from Bangladesh and Pakistan, even though not knowing that the contents was fake Indian currency notes, but taking funding from other countries in order to hinder the sovereignty of India and the government of India, they must know that what funding they are taking from the other countries and the funding they are taking from the other countries are legitimate or not. The duty is towards the accused that they are doing the functioning well, better or not. Thank you, Your Lordship.
Please,
So, my lord, am I permitted to speak?
please, please.
So the third question, I would like to answer the third question, whether the funding from Bangladesh and Pakistan is legitimate or not. Is there any evidence that is provided that is any kind of bank records, bank details, any legitimate evidence that is provided by the prosecution, which says that the funding that is collected from Bangladesh and Pakistan itself is only from Bangladesh and Pakistan? Is there any evidence that states any legitimate bank statement? No, it's a 5 lakh rupee or it's a lakh of rupees which can be just transmitted across. And is there any legitimate evidence that is, the question is that, any legitimate evidence that proves that this currency had been collected from Bangladesh and Pakistan? And even if this currency is collected from Bangladesh and Pakistan, is there any evidence that is used for terrorist activity? Any prior accusation on this, any prior accusations or any prior activity that the accused have been done using this organized amount, other than the organizational activity that is done against the government's abscond policies, which is dividing the Indian citizen? And okay. The second, the Peter's suicide. Peter's suicide hadn't proven any. There is an hadn't proven that he suicided because of the terrorist activities. There is no proof that is NIA provided, which states that Peter's death was out of terrorist activities. And the abscond and the NIA hadn't found one of the person who is absconded, who is Sohail. There is no evidence which states that Sohail, just other than this Peter was in touch with Monu, Kalu and Kalwet Mama. There is no evidence which state that Peter had any kind of Peter done any kind of terrorist activity. The second thing, one is absconded. We just can't put words in an absconded person. NIA need to find that person, question that person, properly deal with him. After that, we can say that he did had some kind of terrorist relation, and he can be absconded because of this disappropriate person need to leave. NIA is putting things on people without proper reports, without proper investigation, and they are calling people terrorists. How will he might be absconded because of that? And like Peter also, Peter in this fact itself states that NIA thought that Peter was also absconded, but he was hospitalized due to this poisoning. Just because he took suicide, he suicided, we cannot say that it is because of he done some kind of terrorist activities. And that's really, I don't know how to. Then the Evidence Act 27, the cases of Evidence Act 27. Let me deal with that. Evidence Act, the Evidence Act 27. Um, okay. So, it was, I quoted the section under subsection of 17, I guess. Can you please repeat, prosecution, can you please repeat the rebuttal on the Evidence Act section 27? It was not quite clear.
Counsel, on behalf of defense, the question was, Section 27 of Indian Evidence Act clearly states that any discovery of fact found during the police custody on behalf of accused can be used against the accused, and same is relevant within the meaning of this section. And accused in the particular case has already revealed that Sohail was planning to execute the bomb blast. Also, he pointed out the place where the bomb blast was actually to be committed. Thank you.
Okay. So the question was like, the council had already said they have planned to plant a bomb. There is no evidence of this planning as well. Even after this NIA raided the house of Sohail, there is no trace of evidence that could say that they were building bombs. They were planning to plant bombs. There must be something. There must be something which said that they were, and to be precise, my lord, the materials that used to make bombs are not easily disposable. That's not easily disposable. There are proper technical analysis can be done to found out the presence of RDX or any kind of explosive. There are proper scanning mechanisms right now, and even after having proper scanning mechanisms, and even after having proper mechanisms to find out the presence of explosive, they found nothing. First thing. And it can be used against them. I don't know. NIA can force these people. We all know how tormentive and how depressing the interrogation sections of NIA can be. There are prior evidences of manipulations from the part of NIA. So it clearly cannot be taken into ground that the accused accepted the fact. And also in the in annexure 7, accused number 2 and 1, sorry, accused number 1 and accused number 2, at the last paragraph, I and Monu didn't know that in the bag they were carrying fake currency, not including. They were saying that they were clearly defending the accusations made by the NIA, actually clearly defending. And we all know how tormentive and how torturous, the mentally torturous the accusations of, the interrogations of the NIA can be. And we cannot take into account such such a statement made by this accused. That's all, my lord. I guess the time is over.
There is a question from prosecution side. Any train passenger is examined or not? Whether any train passenger is examined or not?
Pardon, Your
Really
Lordship?
sorry, my lord.
My question is, any train passenger examined or not from your part, prosecution? Because he is coming from West Bengal, any train passenger is examined or not?
No, Your Honor. But the seizure of the fake Indian currency notes was in front of the independent witnesses.
Any Panchnama from public witnesses, whether this money was gathered from these two persons? Any Panchnama?
No, Your Honor.
Because this is very essential, because there may be chance for implantation of any accused. Because a person coming from West Bengal, whether he's from train are in general in nature. So public person are also there, passengers are also there, and you cannot, if you are not examining public witnesses, how it can, whether it's fair or not.
Your Honor, during the investigation of the accused, the statements which were made by the accused can be taken into consideration.
Because so many persons are there, because he is coming from a passenger train, and it can be a valid ground for taking into consideration whether this person is planted or not, because first time these two persons are contact with the police. Whether any investigation from this aspect?
Your Honor, the police has investigated only on the basis of the statement, only on the basis of the information given by Guddu Singh, who is the independent witness at the time. They have said that both the persons carrying FICN from some place for some criminal activities in the country, and it was necessary at the time to search them, and that's why the police have investigated in it. Hello.
No, I am asking independent witnesses, because if you known to the police, there is chance from tampering anything. What about the public witnesses, whether the trained witnesses are there or not? I am simply asking this question from prosecution. And any Panchnama was conducted to taking these fake currency note? Any Panchnama is done by public witnesses?
I request the judges, the questions are completed. So can we end the session?
Ma'am,
Right.
ma'am, can I
Yeah.
can I ask you a rebuttal question? Is there option?
No, the time is up. You have already given the rebuttal time.
Okay.
Can we end the session?
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. So team, you may leave the courtroom, and judges, you may stay and discuss the matter with your fellow judge.
Thank you, Your Lordship.
Thank you a lot.
Sir, you may send the result
What?
on the WhatsApp or the email as you feel comfortable after discussion.
Today itself, how much time is given?
Sir, in the next half an hour, you may send the result.
Because the marking scheme is not proper. You are giving. Okay, I will send it to you.
Okay, sir, if you have any questions regarding that, I'll just forward this marking scheme and my marking criteria again on the WhatsApp group.
कोर्ट मास्टर साहब,
ओके
ये जो मार्किंग है, बच्चों का जो फ्लो है उसको देख के हम कर लेते हैं।
हाँ जी, ठीक है सर, कोई इशू नहीं है।
मेरे दोस्त क्या कह रहे हैं?
सर इसमें क्या मतलब कहाँ तक जा सकते हैं हम इसमें? कुछ है कुछ
क्योंकि हमें बच्चों को थोड़ा सा, बच्चों ने जो किया है बहुत अच्छी मेहनत किया है, और हमें तो ये देखना है कि उसने अपने सब्जेक्ट मैटर को कितना डीपली लिया। हमें तो मार्किंग करना है, रिजल्ट तो नहीं देना है, फाइनल डिसीजन नहीं देना है। ये तो बच्चों का जो हमें मिला था कि बच्चे किस हिसाब से अपने आर्गुमेंट की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, अप्रिशिएट करना है। तो इस हिसाब से 4 बच्चों ने पार्टिसिपेशन किया है, 4 स्टूडेंट ने किया है, तो आप उसको मार्किंग करके फिर हम दोनों भाई आपस में कर लेते हैं डिस्कस, फिर उसको जो है बच्चों को अप्रिशिएट करना है। मेरा जो ये मानना है कि बच्चों ने, जो 4 बच्चों ने मेहनत किया है, बहुत अच्छा किया है। आई एम वेरी इम्प्रेस्ड। ये जो न्यू जनरेशन आ रही है, ये अपने केस को बड़ा डीपली ले रहे हैं और इतनी मेहनत करके आए हैं, तो मुझे उनको थोड़ा सा अप्रिशिएट करना है।
नहीं, अच्छा था, आर्गुमेंट उनका अच्छा था, काफी इन्होंने डीप अध्ययन किया है इसमें।
डिफेंस ने भी बहुत मेहनत की है।
इसमें जो है
मार्किंग का जो है क्राइटेरिया हमें दिया गया है, ए और बी ऐसे मार्किंग करना है, तो उसका जो नेट पर देख लेते हैं, फिर टैली करके फिर उसको मार्किंग करते हैं।
ठीक है सर, क्या हम एक दूसरे से बात कर सकते हैं इसके बाद या फोन पे?
कोर्ट मास्टर
Yes,
साहब,
sir,
हमें
आप
कैसे एक दूसरे
ऐसे
से
ही
कांटेक्ट में आना होगा?
सर आप व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में आ जाइए, आप वहाँ पे मार्किंग करने के बाद वहाँ सेंड कर दीजिए, और कोई क्राइटेरिया वगैरह आपको।
ठीक है सर।
क्या फोन नंबर से बात कर सकते हैं? क्या एक दूसरे से फोन से बात कर सकते हैं?
कोर्ट मास्टर साहब, हमारा नंबर कैसे सर के पास जाएगा?
बताइए सर आपका अपना नंबर।
सर व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप में है सर, दोनों आप दोनों एडमिन्स ग्रुप में,
ठीक है,
तो
ठीक
उसी
है,
ग्रुप
ठीक।
में है सर, दूसरे आप
ठीक है, ठीक।
ठीक है सर, ठीक है सर, मिलते हैं।
ओके।
थैंक यू सर।